So how many pounds of food scraps do you guys think are in this? Well, I'll tell you, I just weighed it and we're coming in at about 12-ish pounds of food scrap right here, right here. There's a lot of banana peels, there's obviously some eggs, some apple cores, all sorts of strawberry tops, the same stuff that we've been putting in our compost tumbler, our food for the worms for the last couple years. But have you considered what this looks like in an outdoor hot tumbler? I want to show you guys. And for reference, as we're talking later, this equals about a pound of shredded paper or paper scraps, whatever, however you want to figure that in. I used shredded paper in Publix bags that I sealed up as packing material when we moved across the country, but now I can reuse it and put it in our outdoor hot tumbler. And just for reference, this is only about a week or two of food scraps for our house of 2 adults. So I can't imagine what a family of 4, 5, 6 potentially, or people who are eating primarily a lot of plant food, are going to be generating. Obviously, there's an exorbitant amount of banana peels here, but still, this is food scraps for about a week or two for 2, myself and my husband. That's it. And over the course of the last few months, I did some of the numbers, I put them in Excel, and I started my hot tumbler in April, and I started logging how much food we were putting in there in paper, how much we were putting in there. April and May alone, we got 66 pounds of food in there and about 4 pounds or so of paper. And then in June, with the numbers so far, we were at about 80 pounds of food scraps and about 5 pounds of paper scraps. Now that doesn't include this last bunch that we're going to add in here. So we have 80 pounds plus the extra 12 or so pounds, putting us almost at a crazy mid 90s. So let's say 92, 93-ish pounds of food scraps in there. And then that puts us probably close to 6 pounds, according to my notes, of paper scraps. So that pretty much puts us at 100 pounds of waste in about 3 months in that hot tumbler outside. So I want to show you guys what it looks like with the 80 pounds of food that's been in there heating up, cooking, breaking down, and then we'll add this additional 12 pounds of food scraps and a pound of food paper, so you can take a look and see what that looks like, so you can gauge how many tumblers you might need for your family. Let's go outside. Whee! Right, approaching our bin here. And so I've been using both sides, but primarily this right side. So we got some flies. Most of it's been put in here. You can see we've got plenty of room in here. This side is mostly paper, but it has some stuff in here. Not as much. So we'll primarily be adding today to this side, unless there's overflow, but this is what about 80 pounds of food looks like between these 2 chambers, and about 5 pounds of paper over the course of about 3 months. So you'll see in a minute why this type of container with the plastic attached is not as advantageous as something like this, where the whole cover comes off. Watch me dump these in and you'll see why. Alright, so we get our tumbler. Open it this way. See, there's lots of bugs coming out. We're going to focus on this side first. I like to add the paper first since it will fill up the bottom and move around easy. I think you can see it's pretty full with the paper, and that was just the 3 bags added. So we'll add our food in, and whatever doesn't fit will overflow into here. this is the container I said not to use, and here's why. Here, we'll put it in here so it's easier. See, when I start dumping this in here, if I don't have enough room to put the whole container in, or most of the way in, and shake it out, then I have to do it up here, and it might fall out. So this way, this tumbler was low enough where I could push it in and shake it out that way. But let's say this side that's a lot more full, we can't do that in. So what we do, we take the lid and just kind of pull it up so there's only a small gap. That way, most of the container can stay outside, and you just shake it in. Then you don't have any mess. More paper. So you can tell this is pretty full on this side. So we'll overflow and put everything else on this other side of the tumbler. All right. Take some of this paper, put it in here. Really want to max that side out. Then, get a little bit more paper in. Because as full as this is going to be, it's the middle of summer, so in a couple days this is going to heat up, and this is going to be so much more compacted. I don't worry about the paper. It's going to break down. In theory, you would only be filling one side of the chamber at a time, waiting and waiting and waiting, and then while it was resting and breaking down, you would fill the other side, but we're obviously going through more food than we can generate in here on just one side alone, which is why we're using both sides. And I'm honestly considering another tumbler, but I don't want to buy another tumbler until I get my worms and my urban worm bag up and running. So I give this a couple turns. You can tell there's some liquid coming through. That's pretty par for the course, but I don't worry about it because creatures can't really get in here, and if it drips on the ground, well, not a big deal. Alright. So give it a good shake. It's always interesting to see. Look, you can barely tell that we added any paper on this side. Then over here, it's already starting to shrink and compact down. So, pretty great. Off to a good start. We could put more in if we really wanted to. For now, we'll keep the heat in and let this sit for a couple days, then we'll add more. But right now, we're at the end of June. So we started in April, May, June. We're coming in at 100 pounds between the food and the paper. So we're at about 92, 93 pounds of food scraps in here, and the rest of that 7 pounds or so is paper or paper plates, paper products that we got put in here. So for 2 people for 3 months, 100 pounds of trash essentially, not going to the landfills or wherever. This is pretty amazing for one little container. Now just think if you had to have 2 containers or 3 containers, how much you could potentially be putting in here, because I'm sure we're not putting everything in that we could be, but you know, we do what we can. Wally's supervising us over here. We got Moose chilling and snacking over there. So all we do next is we take these containers, we bring them over to the hose, give them a rinse, let them air out a little bit. You can reuse the plastic bags if you need to. Right, Wally? Yeah. Wally's such a sweet helper. Don't you guys think? All right. Well, I will go clean up this mess. Obviously, you could be a lot neater than I am with the paper, but it all breaks down in the end, so I don't really worry about it. And that, my friends, is how we got 100 pounds of food waste in our tumbler in 3 months. You bringing your duck to show us? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, buddy. Great job. Everybody's helping. All right, friends. So it's been about a week since we last recorded an update here with the Compost Tumbler. And I just wanted to show you what the progress is like. I haven't even had a chance to spin it. Obviously, there's water dripping out. So we'll give this a spin. But I mean, look how much it broke down. Obviously, there's a lot of flies. The heat coming off of it is pretty minimal because it hasn't been that hot lately. This side has a lot of flies. But look how much it broke down. That's pretty great. So it's amazing, especially if you're in a warmer environment, how quickly this food will break down. So I do think that 1 tumbler is probably enough for 2 people. But I have a bunch I need to dump in here soon. So yeah, it broke down really well. And we'll keep adding to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's a lot of content about tumblers out there, but sometimes it's kind of cool to see it in progress as opposed to just getting started. If you have any questions or anything, I'm always here to help answer questions, at least to the best of my ability and my experience. But I've had this exact tumbler here out in Colorado, and I've had it down in Florida, and it worked pretty great. You just need a semi-sunny spot, and that's it. It cooks all our food, right, Wally? Yep, he's focused on squirrels. All right, friends, I'm Alessandra. Thanks for hanging out with us today.